Hello, welcome to this week's Level 1 class. So we're going to make this a little bit harder. This is the last week of the month, so we're going to challenge it a little bit more, and then next week we're actually going to switch on to the back. I think I said in the 15-minute express video this week it's a week after, but next week we're going to switch on focusing onto the back muscles a little bit more. So today, if you have it, a football again. If not, a foam roller will do. If you don't have that, don't worry about that. We will need our circle or your cushion. We should all have one of them. So if you can go and grab them now, it'd be great. And if you have a big gym ball, even better. But if not, what we're going to do is just set it up that a couch is at the end of your mat, or there's a chair at the end of your mat, and we're going to work on our hamstrings a little bit, tie that into the glutes as well for this week. Okay, come on to the hands and knees. We're going to get started. We're going to loosen up the hip muscles to start. So we're going to leave the ball down to the side. We're going to come on to our hands and knees. Hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips, flatten the back. Lift the left foot up, twist it out as far as you can. Don't turn your head, but what I want you to do is when you twist your foot out, in the corner of your vision, you should just be able to see the foot. Now keep looking down towards the centre of the mat, don't be looking back. But what I want is that you should just see it in your peripheral vision. Just the foot moving into it, and then back out. One last one on each side, you should just see the left foot, and then the same with the right foot, and then back in. Perfect. Bring the left leg back along the mat, right foot underneath the body. We're going to come down onto the mat and bring that right heel up nice and high and sit back onto the mat. Good. Rest the arms down. So you should feel a stretch into the back of the right hip, coming down along the thigh a little bit. You might feel this heel slipping down. Use your left hand to pull it up a little bit higher. We're really looking to get that leg across the body and get as much external rotation into the right hip. Perfect. And then back to the middle. Bring the left leg across the body. Use the right hand to pull it up, use the right hand to pull the left heel up nice and high. And then rest down onto the mat. Good. Sitting back onto the mat, feeling a good stretch into the left hip and then the back and side of the left thigh. Holding that position. Perfect. Good. And then we're going to come out with stretching piriformis. I'm going to turn over onto our back. So rest the head onto the head block. We're going to bring the right knee straight into the chest, left foot down on the mat, and you're going to hide that right ankle behind the right knee. So when you look down, you shouldn't be able to see the foot or the heel at all. And then pull the knee into the chest, nice and tight. And you should feel a pinch on the inside of the hip, just on the crease. So we're looking to get some true flexion into the hip and just keep that full range of motion. Looking down, you shouldn't see the toes or the heel. Perfect. And then switch sides. Right foot onto the mat, left knee to the chest. Breathing out, bring that left thigh in nice and close. If you look down, if you see the toes, twist them out to the left. If you see the heel, twist it out to the left. And pull the knee in nice and tight. So we're working on flexion and making sure that we're keeping internal rotation. We want to keep it in a neutral rotational position. We don't want to have external rotation, which is what we want to push to. And to encourage that, we're going to twist it very slightly internal rotation, and that's where we don't see the toes or the heel. Drop the shoulders back, pull the knee in nice and close to the chest, and then relax. Perfect. Feet down onto the mat. If you have your ball, we're going to grab that now. If you don't have the ball, the roller, and if you don't have the roller, just have the feet on the mat. So the first thing we're going to do, we're just going to start to work the glutes, get a little bit of articulation and control into the spine. So we're going to have the hands by the side, lift the hips up nice and high, and then back down. Remember, as we do this, imprint the spine. Bring the rib cage down, keep the ribs depressed to the top, and then come back down nice and slow. 2, and back down. That's 3 done. Perfect. Imprint, exaggerate the scooping up of the hips, and then very slowly bring the spine back down. Good. Halfway there, keep the ribs down the whole time. At the top, you'll be tempted to push the ribs forward. And on the way back down, you'll be tempted to let the ribs flare out as well. So lift, and on the way down, think about these ribs dropping down first, and the spine and the vertebrae they attach to, that part of the spine comes down. Let the ribs flare at the bottom, imprint, pull the rib cage down, scoop the hips up, and then drop from the ribs first, coming back down. Perfect. And then have a rest. We're going to start to increase the challenge of this bit by bit by taking the hands away and working a little bit more balance. So 2 feet on the ball or on the roller, hands on the ribs, dig the elbows into the mat, imprint the spine, lift the hips, and then control and lower back down. 1, pull the ribs down and lift up. 2. So if you're a little bit shakier at this, use the elbows. 3, and if you can, almost think about trying to use the shoulders. So pinch the shoulder blades back, and if you feel yourself rolling, dig the shoulder into the mat. So if you're rolling to the right, push the right shoulder down. Try not to use the elbows. This makes it a little bit easier as we move on to the next stage of the exercise. Perfect. So keep going. 2 more. Imprint, lift, hold for a split second, and then drop from the upper ribs, drop from the ribs all the way down to the pelvis. 1 last one, lift up nice and high, and nice and slow, sinking down from the ribs first, and then working your way down the spine. Perfect. Take the legs off the ball for a second. The next one, we're going to bring the hands across the chest. If you want to make this harder, grab your cushion, and you're going to hold the hands up towards the ceiling. When you do this, it's harder for you to control the shoulders, because the shoulders are stabilising the arms so they can squeeze the circle. So just adding the complexity to it, making it a little bit harder. So if you have the circle, hold in your hands up towards the ceiling. If you're not feeling confident for this one, leave it down to the side, don't worry about it. So we're going to 2 feet on the ball, gently squeezing the circle, drop the shoulder blades back into the mat, point the elbows to the toes, imprint the spine, lift the hips, and then lower back down. And then remember, the technique will go out the window a little bit as we make things harder, and back down. So what we're watching for is as we imprint, lift the hips, keep the rib cage here pushing down, and then nice and slow, drop down from the ribs first. Lift and lower down. Remember that rib cage is the first part to drop down to the mat. Lift, so let the spine cave in, lower back down. Keep the shoulder blades away from the ears. As you lift up, they can be tempted to creep up. Good. 3 more. Imprint, lift, keep the circle squeezed, hips nice and high, shoulders away from the ears. Lower back down. Good, nice smooth movements. And controlled. And back down. Good, 1 last one. Imprint, roll the hips back, lift the hips up, elbows tucked in, and then controlled, rolling down onto the mat, and relax. Good. Give the feet a rest, take them off the ball for a second. Next one, we're going to use the circle between the thighs. So we're going to try and build a little bit of control. So, circle between the thighs, 2 feet up on the ball. We're going to start with the hands by the side, imprint the spine, lift the hips nice and high, squeeze and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hips nice and high. 8, 9, 1 last one, 10, and back down. And don't let that happen. I thought I was going to have to hold for the last one. So what we want to do is not let the circle shoot across the room. Because your feet are thinking about controlling where the ball goes, they think less about holding that circle between the thighs. So it's going to wiggle its way free bit by bit. So if you feel like it's going to shoot off across the room, grab a hold of it before it does. So circle between the thighs again. Roll the ball in nice and close. We're going to make it a little bit harder. Hands on the ribs. Lift the hips up nice and high. Squeeze and relax. 1, 2, hips nice and high. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep pulling the rib cage down. Pelvis up. 9, 10. Roll back down and rest the legs again. So take the circle out, take the feet down. Just give the hamstrings and the adductors on the inside a little break. Last one we're going to do, hands across the chest, 2 feet up on the ball. Perfect. So imprint again, 2 feet on the ball, circle between the thighs. Roll the ball in nice and close to the hips. Hands across the chest, pull the shoulder blades back and dig them back into the mat. They're going to give you stability. Imprint the spine, pull the ribs down, lift the hips nice and high, squeeze and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the ball below the knees. 5, hips nice and high. 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, 10. Roll back down, grab the circle and rest the legs. Perfect. Have a little rest. We're going to come back in to do a little bit one leg and the other. We're only going to do one set for this. So we're going to bring the hips nice and high. You can have the hands by the side, on the ribs, or across the chest, wherever you feel the most confident and comfortable. We're going to do 2 feet on the ball, lift the hips up. We're going to for 10 drops with the left knee out to the side. Come back in. We're going to drop the right knee out to the side 10 times in a row as well. Always keeping the other leg perfectly still. So, imprint the spine. 2 feet onto the ball, circle between the thighs, and then hands wherever you want to have them, by the side, on the ribs or across the chest. I'm going to go on the ribs because the circle went flying off earlier. So we're going to drop the left leg out and in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the ribs down. 5, 6. Right knee stays still. 7, 8, 9, 10. Roll the hips back down. Have a little rest. So with this one, only one leg moves. There's a lot going on. Balance, coordination of knees, and keeping your feet on the ball and keeping yourself up. So what's going to happen is at times if you forget just to move one leg, you might feel the other one go. Just reset it and move again. So roll the ball in nice and close. Hands on the ribs. Pull the rib cage down. Lift the hips nice and high. Good. Drop the right knee out this time and in. 1, 2, 3. Left knee stays still. 4. Hips high. 5. Dig the elbows to the mat. 6, 7, 8. Push the elbows down to the feet. 9. One last one. 10. Roll the pelvis down and get rid of the circle. Perfect. Leave it down there. We're going to do a little bit on one leg next. So we're going to do 10 bridges with 1 foot on the ball. Doesn't matter where you have the hands. We'll try and make it harder anyway. I'm going to try and talk you through from having the hands by the side to the ribs across the chest. But if you want to start with the hands across the chest, by all means, go for it. So, right foot on the ball, in nice and close to the hips. So we're going to have the right knee directly over the right foot. Get the positioning right. Left knee into the chest. Hands by the side to start. Lift and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right hand on the ribs. 5 and across the chest. 6. Left hand on the ribs. 7 and across the chest. 8. Good. 9. One last one. 10. And back down. And rest. Perfect. Left foot onto the ball for the next one. So hands by the side again, and bit by bit we're going to come across the chest. So we're going to do the first 4, 2 hands by the side. 5 is one hand, left hand on the ribs. 6 is left hand across the chest. 7, 8, a right hand follows it. And then 9 or 10, 2 hands across the chest. So left foot on the ball, right knee to the chest, hands by the side. Imprint the spine, lift the hips, and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Left hand on the ribs. 5. Left hand across the chest. 6. Right hand on the ribs. 7. Right hand across the chest. 8. Last 2. 9. Right knee comes in an arc overhead. 10. And back down. And rest down. So, I'm going to point out last week, my left glute's a little bit weak and you can see the ball sliding further and further away. So it makes it a lot harder with that. Now, we're going to get rid of the small ball. So we're going to leave it down to the side. If you have your big gym ball, we're going to get it next. If you don't have this, just get a chair or position yourself in front of the couch or in front of the chair and you're going to put your feet up on the edge of it. So we're going to work the hamstrings now that the knees are extended. You can bend the knees ever so slightly and you feel the hamstrings working even harder, or you can keep them straight like me. And we're going to focus on the hip extension part of the hamstrings. So, hands by the side, imprint the spine, draw the ribs down, lift and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, good, 7, 8, nice straight line to the top, 9 from shoulders to ankles, and 10, and rest back down. You want to make sure you're not feeling any tension in the low back. To do that, start the movement with an imprint. So you get the lower abs working and taking the pressure away from the spine and the paravertebral muscles on the back. Next one, we're going to bring the hands across the chest. We're going to skip the elbows on the mat. We're going to imprint the spine, lift the hips up and back down. Good, and it's the same with this movement as with the bridge. You imagine one vertebrae dropping back down to the mat at a time, starting from the shoulders, working all the way into the pelvis, and as you lift up, the pelvis rolls back, imprints, and you lift one vertebrae up at a time, all the way up to the shoulders. Good. Imprint and lift and lower. So it's not a big lift. Good. And lower. So focus as much as you can on each one of those vertebrae coming up and back down. Good. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Imprint and lift and lower. 2 more. Imprint, lift the hips up, back down. Really important for this, keep the rib cage drawn down as you lift up, and then the ribs stay nice and tight as the pelvis comes back onto the mat. Perfect. Give the legs a bit of rest there. The next one we're going to do, we're going to focus on one leg at a time. We're not going to work on balance, we're just going to work on the strength, lifting the hips up and down. So we're going to have the right foot on the ball to start. Left leg is going to hover slightly above the ball. We're going to go for 10 lifts. We're going to hold at the end and do 10 lifts to the left leg, keeping yourself in that extended bridge position. So, right foot onto the ball or onto your couch. Perfect, get yourself comfortable. We're going to straighten the left leg, hands by the side, lift the left foot up just a couple of inches off the ball. We're going to lift the hips and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and hold. 10 lifts. 10, 9, 8, keep the ribs down. 7, 6, keep the pelvis imprinted. 4, 3, shoulders as relaxed as you can. 1, and rest back down and relax. Give the left, right leg a little bit of a stretch there. You can feel the hamstrings getting tight at the end. Good, so straighten the right leg to the ceiling. 2 hands around the back of the thigh. Keep the left foot up on the couch if you want, or else bring it down, foot onto the mat. Toes pointing to the ceiling, so we're focusing on the hamstring muscle. And then bring the right foot back down. Good. Left foot up onto the ball. Hands by the side. We're going to straighten the right foot. Have the foot about 6 inches above the ball. Depress the ribs, pull them down. Imprint the spine. We're going to lift and lower the hips. 1. So you're digging that left heel into the ball. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 more, 10, and hold. So 10 lifts the right leg. 2, that's 2 now. 3, I'm skipping 1, 4, good, nice and controlled. 5, keep the ribs down. 6, pelvis imprinted. 7, 8, right and left pelvis level. 10, roll the hips down and then rest down. Good, get rid of your couch, chair, ball, whatever you're using. Leave it down to the side, and then we're going to turn over onto our side. So, line the back up at the back of your mat, rest the head onto your head block. What we're going to do next, we're going to work the lateral hips. We're going to use our body weight to lift the hips up, and then at the end, we're going to stretch out our sciatic nerve at the back as well. So, lying on the side, We're going to do our full hip series, then we're going to do some leg lifts or some side bridges after that as well. So push that left leg down. So we're going to level the pelvis and even drop it down on the top. We're going to lift and lower. We're going to turn the toes down to the mat. 2, 3. Remember the hips sweep forward so the feet are at the front of the mat. Good, toes pointing down. 1 more. 10. And rest down. As we turn the toes down, you get more of the glute med working. You should feel it burning more here. So head resting onto your head block. Turn the toes down, so just drop them down to the mat, but keep your left heel above your right foot. And we're going to lift the foot up 6 inches and circles with the heel. 2, 3, push the pelvis away. 5, nice round circles. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change directions. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest the leg down. Next it's going to be big circles. This makes it harder with the toe turned down. You won't get as much movement as you come up high, so these circles won't be as big as usual. So I'm going to push that pelvis down again, drop the toes to the mat, keeping the left heel above the right foot, and kick the leg forward, up, back and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, keep pushing the heel away. 5, 6, 7, 8, keep pushing that heel away all the time. 9, 1 more, 10. Rest the leg down for a split second. Make sure the circles stay nice and big all the time. As you get to the later reps, you don't want the circles getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So we're going to do the opposite direction now. We're going to bring the foot up, forward, down and back. Turn the toes down, push the heel away, and then lift up, forward, down and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep pushing the heel away. 6, 7, don't worry if the circles get a little bit smaller as you push the heel away. 9, 1 more, 10, and back down. You notice as the hips start to come up, the circles get bigger. We're just tilting the pelvis and changing its foundation. So it looks like the circles are coming much higher, but what we're doing is we're just changing the orientation so it's not as much work on the hip muscles as shifting to the obliques. We don't want that to happen. Last one on this side, we're going to cycle forward and back. So this time the knee doesn't turn down, the knee and foot point forward so it'll recruit the glute med even more. So push the heel away again to start. So we're going to keep the pelvis in that position. We're going to cycle forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice smooth moves. Left knee slightly pointing up on a diagonal. 1 more. 10 and backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest the leg down. Perfect. Switch over to the opposite side. So again, back land up at the back of the mat. Feet sweeping forward to the front of the mat. Hand onto the top of the pelvis. We're going to push the heel away and lift. Toes pointing down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep pushing the heel away. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And rest there. Good. Next one, little circles. Again, point the toes down to the mat. We're going to lift the right leg up 6 inches. Push the heel away. And circles. 1, 2, so the right foot is up at 12 inches. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change directions. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep pushing the heel away. 5, 4, toes down. 3, 2, nice round circles. 1, and rest back down. you'll notice your bottom hip is starting to hurt a little bit. I keep wanting to bend my leg because it's easier to push down the bent knee. You want to keep that leg straight, working that glute even more. The next one are big circles. So drop the right toes down to the mat, right heel is above the left foot, push the right heel away, and big circles. So I'm going to start going forward, up, back and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little rest for a second. We're going to go up, forward, down and back next. So toes pointing down. 1, 2, 3, push the heel away. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, my leg's getting heavy now, we're near the end. We've got a cycle forward and back, and then we've got some side planks and lifts. So we're nearly there, towards the end. We've 3 or 4 minutes left. We're going to cycle forward, lift the top leg up 6 inches, knee and foot are slightly pointing up this time, about 5-10 degrees, and cycle forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and backwards. 10. Try and keep the pelvis still. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and rest the legs back down. Good. I'm nearly there. This is the last bit of work for the hips. We'll have a break from these for another month now after this. We'll be working the back more, we'll be complaining about something different. We're going to have the legs straight down onto the mat. We'll have the left elbow below the left shoulder, but slightly closer to the hips than directly below the shoulder. Top hand, right hand onto the right hip. Chest forward, pinch the shoulder blades back, lift and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold. Bring the right leg if you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest the legs and rest the hips down. I know, level 1 class. I'm making it really difficult. If you can do that, you're flying. If you can't, don't worry about it. If you can do that, move on to level 2 class. I'm being really evil today. So, right shoulder, I don't know why I'm laughing, I put myself through the punishment. Right elbow below the right shoulder. We're going to get ribs forward, we're a straight line down the mat, so the hips don't come forward this time. Left hand onto the left pelvis, pinch the shoulders back, we're going to lift and lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and hold. Lift up top leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 3, 2, 1. Legs, hips, down onto the mat. Grab the headrest and rest the head down. We're nearly there. We're just going to straighten this right leg to the ceiling again. We're going to do some flosses with the sciatic nerve. So we grab the back of the thigh, point the right foot to the ceiling, and just pump the ankle up and down 10 or 15 times. So we're just loosening up any adhesions around the nerve. We'll switch leg, left leg to the ceiling, and again pointing up and down, and loosening out anything caught in and around the nerve. Keep the shoulder blades back. And when you're done with that, after you do your 15, you're finished. I think I'm lost in the sunlight here, you probably can't see my face. But I hope you enjoyed that class. We're finished with the hips. We did loads of work there, building up really hard. And from next week, we're focusing on the back. I hope you enjoyed the class. See you next week. Bye bye.